Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
How's everybody doing today? Good? All right. Just want to make sure everybody has time to get in and have a seat. Looking good. Welcome to Heritage Universalist Unitarian Church. My name is Shannon McFarland, and along with Bob Lamb, we are happy to welcome you to today's service. Heritage is a welcoming congregation, and this is a space that honors every part of our identities, backgrounds, and experiences. We include all people, regardless of gender, race, ethnicity, age, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or national origin. All are welcome here. Welcome, good morning. If you are visiting for the first time today, I would like to extend a special welcome to you. There is a guest book at the welcome table where you entered the sanctuary. And if you're on Zoom, hi Zoom! You can find a link in the virtual guest book in the chat window. You may also sign online at huuc.net. No one will contact you unless you ask them to. If you have questions, our minister, Reverend Bill Gupton, or a member of our Board of Trustees will be happy to connect with you over email if you leave an email in the guest book. If you are here in person, feel free to say hello to today's board greeter, Rebecca Pace. There she is, doing the Queen's wave, I see. There she is. Yes, one of these. She will be happy to answer any questions or give visitors a tour of the church after today's service. And all are invited to stay after the service for conversation in the Great Hall or outside. Reverend Bill is away from the pulpit today, but in his absence, we are delighted to welcome Meg McGuire, who came all the way from Columbus to be with us this morning. Yay, Meg! Some of you may recognize her, although maybe not, she got a haircut, from a service she led last year when we were Zoom only, and we are glad to welcome her to Heritage in person today. You can read a short bio and some fun facts about Meg in your order of service, which also has a list of activities. It does not today, it doesn't have a list of activities to get involved in no. Lacey just gave me that late-breaking update, and I continued to read it as if it was still there, but it was not. Go to the website, that's got a list of everything. You will also find a special insert for the youth or young at heart to do during the service that is related to the theme of today's service. Meg will be sharing a timely reflection about the importance of slowing down that I know you're going to enjoy today. One of the ways that will help us do that is to make sure our electronic devices are either silenced or turned off entirely so that we can focus on the here and now. We are here this morning to connect, to replenish our spirits, to fill our hearts, and challenge our minds. Join me as we take a breath and slowly exhale. Take a moment to center yourself as Meg offers today's call to worship.
Good morning. Our call to worship today is written by the Reverend Gretchen Haley. Life comes for us in 1,000 different ways. Undoes plans and upends traditions, knocks down the doors of our defense. In a moment, every expectation releases like the in and out of breath. Life is urgent, but also unbearably slow, and does not take well to our fantasies of control. We gather here to practice, surrendering to the waves of grace and grief, in song, in silence, in story. We come to remember the possibility of a larger call, that we might offer our gifts with a surprising generosity, that we might release ourselves from the needing to know, that we might simply be present. to this beauty, these partners, this hope we make together. Come, let us worship together.
Now please join us. We're going to do the covenant. I'm going to say it aloud, and Lacey's going to do the signs. Do we stand for this? Or we sit? Stand, sit, stand.
Stand. I think
Stand as
for
you are
this.
able,
Responsibly.
responsibly. Love is the spirit of this church.
Love is the spirit of this church.
The quest for truth is its sacrament,
The quest for truth is its sacrament,
and service is its prayer.
and service is its prayer.
To dwell together in peace,
To dwell together in peace,
to seek knowledge in freedom,
to seek knowledge and freedom,
to serve humankind in fellowship,
to serve humankind in fellowship,
to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine.
Thus do we covenant with each other
Thus do we covenant with each other
and with God.
and with God.
Thank you.
Oh, it's actually me now. I'm moving in the wrong direction. All right. So we're actually going to take this opportunity to actually center ourselves a little in our bodies as we reflect onto and move into the rest of worship. So I'm going to give us some tidbits and pointers for how we can sort of do some physical aspects of meditation so that as we move through service and worship and have opportunities to meditate in silence and throughout the service, that we might be sort of better equipped. Now, in your order of service, I'm going to tell you sort of just one or two little tips during our reflection for all ages portion, but there are at least two other resources for meditation in the order of service that you can use later, or aspects of that you could use in service if you need them. One of them that requires that you lay on the floor, so chances are you might not do that one during worship, but there is floor space if you need that. So please feel like you can do and be physically in the way that you need. Okay, so first things, a little word on our bodies in meditation. Right angles are all the rage when we meditate, okay? So for those of you who are tall enough, I would like to invite you to put your feet on the ground. We're essentially going to attempt to make 3 right angles. This is a right angle. An L is a right angle. The first right angle is your feet and the ground. So your feet are flat on the ground. It's a way for you to sort of plant your whole body firmly in the soil or the carpet, as is the case right now as we're inside. So then from your legs, from your feet, your legs come up and your knees bend to make your next right angle. So you essentially want to position yourself so that your legs are sort of far enough out that you're not, your legs aren't swishing in or out. So think of that as the next step. Up your legs, make the L with your knee. Now, the next here is how our back is supposed to be firm and strong and elongated. So imagine now that there's like a rope at the top of your head, and it pulls you up so that your back is straight, your head is up, and that your body makes the next part of the L. Now you have accomplished your 3 right angles. Now, to our young people who might be, or any of us really, who might be shorter than the chair allows us to make the right angles, you can stand, and then you become one giant L. Your feet are with the ground, and your body comes up. Is everyone good? Okay, so now, again, as we begin, as we start to take our breathing and think of our body, let your Breathe in, and as you exhale, imagine that that string is pulling you up so that you are at your full strength. Okay. Lots of meditation asks you to clear your mind. We're not going to do that part yet. What we are going to do is become sort of mindful of our bodies and let that sort of guide us. So let's start with our toes. Feel your toes. Think about what your toes are feeling. Like, are your feet sweaty? Are you a little uncomfortable? Did you wear a pair of shoes that are too tight? Think really about what you are experiencing in this part of your body. As you think about that part of your body, clench really hard with your toes, your feet. Hold it until it's just a little uncomfortable, and then release. Breathe in when you clench. Exhale when you release. You can do the same thing with your hands if you think about it. Now, deep breath in, keep breathing out. Now here's where it's a pick your own adventure. It's about your body, how your body feels, what your body needs. So we're going to have the opportunity to breathe in and out on 2 body parts. So think about which 2 body parts are in your mind, which 2 are bothering you, which 2 are you really aware of. So we're going to think about the next body part. Breathe in on the clench. Breathe out on the exhale. Okay, 2 more times. Clench and breathe in. Now exhale. 1 more time. All right. Now think about your next body part. Maybe it's your neck, your shoulders, your back. Wherever that is, really focus all of your attention on that part of your body. Think of yourself as an investigator, investigating your body, really trying to focus on it. And clench on the inhale. Big release on the exhale. Make sure your exhale is as long or longer than your clench. Same with your exhale. Breathe in. Long exhale. Another breath. Okay. Now, as you do your last inhale and exhale, now let's wiggle out. Wiggle everything out. Let that rope go. You are not connected to that rope anymore. You are free. Okay. Now, this is the way for us to get in touch with our bodies and to get in touch with how we're feeling. And our breath is a way of that we get in touch with the whole sort of world that we're in. So as we go through worship today, if you need a way to sort of recenter or refocus, you can go back to this kind of breathing by focusing on a part of your body, or you can try one of the others in your order of service.
Now let's take a look at hymn 391, Voice Still and Small, which is also a meditative hymn. And for those of you that want to use a hymnal, it's 391. For those of you that want to, either from Zoom or from here in the congregation, want to look up front, that's where the words will be. Just going to play a short introduction. Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In the dark and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing. Calming my Let's sing it one more time. Ready? Voice still and small, deep inside all, I hear you call, singing. In storm and rain, sorrow and pain, still will remain singing, calming my fears, quenching my tears, through all the years, singing.
When you're up here, you can hear you all singing, and it was like you were performing a concert for me. It was so beautiful. Thank you, everyone. Now we're going to take a few moments to nurture and strengthen our community by the sharing of our weekly joys and sorrows in our Candles of Community ritual. All are invited to our altar, whether physically, in person, or virtually, whether via email or by writing in our book of candles. If you have a joy or sorrow to share with the congregation this morning, you are welcome here now. First, I will read those joys and sorrows sent in prior to the service via email. I will not, there were none. And those written in the book, there were none in the book. Before inviting live sharing, so now I'm inviting the live sharing. When each candle request is read or spoken, Bob will light a candle on our altar as we hold each person in our hearts. So if you have a joy or sorrow to share this morning, please line up on either side of the sanctuary and approach the microphone, and then Bob will light a candle for you. And we will conclude Candles of Community with the lighting of one final symbolic candle to represent those joys and sorrows we hold that remain unexpressed.
Given our theme this morning and holding all of what was just shared in this community, I want to invite us into the practice of shared silence. It's been a noisy few weeks or years, the clamor and buzz in ourselves and around us. So may we settle together a bit more into this moment, into the spaciousness of pause that is always available to us. Whether you're grounded in your breath or your body, as Lacey showed us how to do, or simply in the steady beating of your heart, let us invite in that quiet, that it may soothe whatever has been rubbed raw, that we may shed for a moment our hardest edges. May we enter, however briefly, into a time outside of time. May we sink into the silence together. As you're ready, I invite you to bring your attention back into our physical space or our Zoom space. And as we return together, I invite us to hold with some tenderness whatever it is that swelled up for you in the quiet, honoring the silent meditations of our hearts and carrying forward the wisdom from the stillness. The reminder that even amidst the clamor of the world, the respite of quiet is possible.
As people were sharing candles, I kept thinking about this song we're going to do. Breathe in, breathe out. It actually is on. How about now? Breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I'll breathe in peace. And when I breathe out, I'll breathe out love. Bob is going to help me lead this today because there are two parts. There's the drone and there's the melody. And just briefly going to teach you each one. I know most of you probably already know it, but the drone is breathe in, breathe out. Just join me. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. Okay, and then Bob will be leading that part. And then some of you may want to come in on the melody, which is, when I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. So let's start with breathe in, breathe out. Everybody singing that. And then I'll start on the melody. And those of you that want to join me on that, please do. For those of you that want to continue with the drone, please do that. And you may want to switch back and forth because we're going to be doing this more than just a couple of times to try to chant in this positive, calming energy. 1, 2, ready, and breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe in, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out. One more time. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Namaste.
Thank you. You? Me? It's you.
Hi, it's me. I'm Bob Lamb, and I'm here to introduce our Sharing Our Abundance. In today's call to worship, Reverend Gretchen Haley wrote, "We come to remember the possibility of a larger call that we might offer our gifts with a surprising generosity." It is that time in our service where we offer those gifts. For a long time now, Heritage has collected an offering every Sunday and then given it away to a worthy cause outside our church. And at least once a month, the recipient has been interparish ministry. IPM have been helping families and children in our area in need since 1964. Today, over 50 churches, organizations, and businesses have formed a partnership to support IPM Food Pantry as they pursue their mission of feeding families in need and connecting neighbors to life-enhancing resources. IPM uses a choice food pantry model, providing a sense of dignity and respect to pantry guests as they can select the foods they want and their families enjoy. They do this at two nearby locations in Newtown and Amelia. In addition, they have expanded their reach into the community, providing mobile and pop-up food pantries in locations where clients live, learn, and pray. During the pandemic, IPM began to offer a drive-through pantry at both locations for families in need to address health and safety concerns and make food distribution more efficient. IPM also maintains a commitment to offer personal care and cleaning products to pantry guests. They provide shampoo, conditioner, toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorant, toilet paper, paper towels, razors, soap or body wash, laundry detergent. Now you can give to IPM in the sanctuary today or online at interparish.org. If you're in the sanctuary, please make your check out to HUUC and write outreach in the memo line. And don't forget, you're also encouraged to give in kind by placing canned goods or other non-perishable foods, personal care, or cleaning products in the shopping cart in the Great Hall. The morning offering will be gratefully received. Thank you for the many people that your surprising generosity always serves.
This is a reading by Alexis Pauline Gumbs. Did I get it? All right. It's from Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Mammals. It's called Slow Down. Before she goes underwater, the harbor seal will slow her heart. Yes, from 120 beats per minute to 3 or 4 heartbeats per minute. But first, she exhales. When she is underwater, the oxygen she needs is the oxygen she has. Her blood breathes for her through her muscles as she descends as deep as 1,500 feet, deep enough for what she needs to do. She slows her heart and listens, reaches, knows. What if you could hear the world between your heartbeats? Slow down enough to deep into trust. How can I learn the skill to tell my heart, slow down? The pressure is coming. Slow down, and we will have the air we need. Slow down and trust the ocean underneath you, and live in it, the underneath that nourishes love, your blubbered warmth, your sleek survival, you among the most abundant seals. And then you come back, out to the surface, and you race your heart to meet the sky. You breathe again to feel the world, your heart, the speed of recognition, your heart, the waking of your lungs. I love you so much that I would learn my changing heart, the way it slows and when it quickens, the space between and all this closeness. I would breathe at the pace that love requires, which is not always the same, but is always here, my heart. The harbor seal lives half her life in water, half her life on land, and through it all, she has to know her heart, what it makes possible, her breath, and what it needs. And I can live this whole life from my heart. Despite all my impatience and my fear, I can know my heart like love knows you, has always known. Ready? Exhale.
Thank you, Shannon. It is so good to be here with you all in your pulpit and still with some of you on Zoom. I think exactly 1 year later from when we met. You could say it is deja vu all over again, which is an expression I learned as a child and loved long before I knew what it meant, or certainly before I knew where it came from. Before I learned about Yogi Berra, who, as many of you know, is widely regarded as one of the greatest major league catchers in history. He was a coach and a manager too, but Yogi Berra's fame comes in part from his yogiisms, the dozens and dozens of silly aphorisms and amusing paradoxes that are attributed to him. The future ain't what it used to be. Nobody goes there anymore, it's too crowded. It ain't over till it's over. It gets late early out there. You can see a lot by looking. Notably, Yogi has quipped that he didn't really say everything that he said, but the so-called yogiisms are a lovely legacy either way, in my opinion. All of them are funny, and many of them, maybe most of them, are also surprisingly profound. They offer an invitation into contradiction. They are simple truths, made somehow a little bit wiser because of how uniquely they're stated. I was reminded of Berra as I was thinking about this idea of slowing down and urgency and realizing that there's actually a slew of similar phrases about this paradox. There's a song, "There's only time to go slowly." Or I've heard, "Your rushing is slowing us down." there is urgency that we slow down. Again, on the surface, these phrases seem a little bit contradictory, but turning them over, perceiving them again from a different angle, yields a surprising insight. The one that got me started, I came to know from Dr. Bayo Okomolafe, who is a prolific author and lecturer who says that his most sacred work is being with his daughter and son. There's an African saying, Dr. Okomolafe writes, "The times are urgent. Let us slow down." Hearing it, he says, I knew I had happened on something important. These times are urgent. That part feels clear, right? I don't need to or want to enumerate the intersecting crises of our times. We know these things, whether by intellect or heart or body. And these past years, they've laid them bare for anyone for whom they weren't plainly obvious already. These times are urgent, and they long have been. Following the 2016 election, Adrienne Marie Brown, who is a healer, facilitator, and author, offered these words. Things are not getting worse. They are getting uncovered. She shared these words again last January following the insurrection in our nation's capital, this time in a poem. Things are not getting worse. They are getting uncovered. The word's a challenge and a comfort simultaneously, at least for me. I've even seen these words circulating anew in these past weeks that have so many of us reeling from the Supreme Court's overturn of Roe v. Wade. Her words, I think, are a reminder in the moments where for some of us, it can feel like a boiling point. A reminder that there were moments before this one, and that there will be moments after this too. A reminder that some of what we face is foundational, histories and legacies behind the urgency of the moment. A reminder that what feels new is the unveiling. The heaviness, she says, is the increasing weight of the truth becoming undeniable as more people believe it. There long has been urgency, and long a need for it. Last week, as the 4th of July came and went, I returned to Frederick Douglass's seminal speech, "What to the slave is the 4th of July?" The speech is a harsh rebuke and a call to action. It is not light that's needed, but fire, he says. Not a gentle shower, but thunder. In Douglass's words, the feeling of the nation must be quickened. The consciousness of the nation must be roused. Douglass calls for a reckoning that was then already long overdue when he delivered it 170 years ago. And in a video produced by NPR amidst the uprising of the summer of 2020, 5 of Douglass's descendants read excerpts from this speech and reflect on its bearing on the current moment in the midst of the protests in defense of Black life. Listening to Frederick Douglass's great-great-great-great-grandchildren, I want to get that right, 4 greats, reflect on the continued relevance of that speech, for me, that is sobering and powerful. And it attests again to this foundational nature of the injustice of white supremacy that we are called to counter today. I think of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's use of the phrase, the fierce urgency of now, in his Beyond Vietnam speech delivered at Riverside Church in 1967. In King's words, in this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is such a thing as being too late. I am struck in these speeches by the not newness of urgency and the value of it. So urgency isn't new, but there are moments personal ones and collective ones, where that uncovering, that unveiling that Adrienne Marie Brown talks about happens. And I think we've had our share of these moments in these past years. Flashpoint moments that start movements or revive them in new form. Acute crises that expose structural inequities that long have been. And there are personal unveilings too. Moments that uncover something, that make a connection that can shake us awake to something beyond our immediate personal experience. Can you remember a moment like this for yourself? A moment where a headline or an experience or a story from a neighbor touched you, where something inside you welled up, where you felt that urgency, that call to act. Think about it, one of those moments, if one comes to mind. Maybe it was just the other day, or maybe there was a seminal moment of uncovering years ago that stayed with you ever since. Can you remember what you felt then, just before the urgency? Was it grief? Anger? Maybe fear? Being awake to the world, to each other, this most human of vocations, sometimes it can be devastating. And still, those moments are important. The feelings that they bring up, I think, are even important. I'm personally indebted to the work of Joanna Macy, who articulates how feelings of pain for what's happening in the world are signs of living. It's something important. It's an expression of love for creation and for one another. And these feelings, they inspire us to action. The urgency they can promote is important. Faced with multiple crises, with the reality that in some of what we face, we can be too late, urgency can seem like the only reasonable, accountable response. And yet, there's a moment that stuck with me from when I was working as a labor organizer. Brimming with the idealistic impatience of an emerging adult and overwhelmed with the massive task of combating economic injustice, all playing out in the bustling context of New York City. It was a time when I moved fast. And on this particular afternoon, I was rushing to catch a train. Rushing and running through a to-do list in my mind and carrying a cup of coffee that was already sloshing over as I rushed. I was consumed with an urgent task. I had to catch Maria before she left for work and let her know something. The nature of that urgent something that seemed so important then is no longer something I can remember. And so there I was, completely consumed by the to-do list in my head, the total urgency of my task, what then seemed to be the crucial linchpin in the larger struggle for worker justice. And then it hit me. Or rather, I hit her. I ran smack into Maria, the very person I had been running to find, spilling coffee all over both of us, and in an instant was jolted out of my self-important and self-absorbed urgency. And Maria, as she helped me mop coffee off of both of us, graciously let me know that she was, in fact, already completely aware of the very thing I was rushing to tell her. These times are urgent, so let us slow down. If you had told me that morning of our collision, I would have protested vehemently. I could not possibly slow down, and neither should you. But in the years since, I've heard this call reverberated, different takes on it echoed by activists and thinkers working at the intersection of multiple oppressions. People like Ebony Janice Moore and Angel Kyoto Williams, Adrienne Marie Brown, Alexis Pauline Gumbs, who we heard earlier, are a few that come to mind for me. Meeting urgency with urgency, they say, will not get us where we need to go. On the most practical level, I think we know intuitively that rushing can slow us down. The dinner turned up too high, burned. The small mistake made while moving frantically, costing hours in repair. But even in the moments where rushing seems to save time, there's a cost. Operating from a place of urgency can keep us stuck in the same tired patterns, trying the same things and expecting different results, fighting fire with fire. We can miss opportunities and resources that are all around us. And at worst, our hurrying can unwittingly reproduce the very patterns of the system we are fighting. It can incentivize sacrificing the necessary and slow work of building relationships and coalitions for measurable short-term gains. Urgency thinking can diminish creativity. It can narrow our view, leading us to forego the reflection and strategic planning that might make our work more effective. It can have us locked into a cycle of resting or working when we should be resting in a way that ultimately burns us out. I think a lot of this is intuitive. We see it play out in our everyday lives. One more piece that dawned on me is that urgency actually requires disconnection. It disconnects us from the heart that inspired that urgency in the first place. At its worst, urgency uses action to fix or distract from those feelings of pain for the world that got us here in the first place, the heartache, the fear that woke us up in the middle of the night, the love for life that undergirds all of it. All of those deeply important things get lost in the rush to action. We know that these times are urgent. Faced with a warming climate and legacies centuries old of white supremacy and colonialism, the persistent impact of intersecting oppressions that harm every one of us, we know there is no time to waste. These times call us to channel that urgency that we feel into steady, wise action. We will need every ounce of creativity and capacity that we can muster. We will need creative and courageous tools and frameworks and ways of working together. We will need to be grounded in our bodies, in our feelings, and in our values. And we will need community that can hold us through it all. Community like this. Community that is ready to rise to the urgency of this time thoughtfully and effectively. Ready to feel, to reflect, and to act. Beo Akomolafe begins the lecture. The times are urgent. Let us slow down with Scripture. Born in a Christian home to Yoruba parents in Western Nigeria, he begins with the word Selah. Selah, a Hebrew word, appears no less than 74 times in the book of Psalms. And while the exact translation remains a subject of speculation and debate, the greatest consensus is that the word is an invitation to pause. Selah shows up at the end of verses, both praise and lament. Selah. Pause. It's an invitation to slow down, to breathe. Selah. And so may we pause. May we slow down. May we breathe. And from that place, may we act courageously and creatively together. May it be so.
As we were working on this service, Meg suggested this song. And when I listened to it, I just fell in love with it. I've always loved Holly Near and what she does as a person. And this is one of her songs. And every other screen, you'll see this. This is the chorus. And I would love to have you sing along with me if you're willing and able. And even sing with me on the verses if you want. It's a beautiful tune, simple, meaningful, and hopeful. I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. There is hurting in my family, and there is sorrow in my town. There is a panic across the nation, and there is wailing the whole world round. I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. May the children see more clearly, and may the elders be more wise. May the winds of change caress us, even though they burn our eyes. I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. Give me a mighty oak to hold my confusion, and give me a desert to hold my fear. Give me a sunset to hold my wonder, and give me an ocean to hold my tears. I am open, I am willing, for to be hopeless would seem so strange. It dishonors those who go before us, so lift me up to the light of change. So lift me up to the light of change.
Thank you, everyone. Your beautiful voices. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for being here today. We're going to do the benediction now. If you're here in the sanctuary, please form a circle and join hands if you're comfortable with that as we prepare. If you're watching elsewhere, you can hold hands with someone near you, if that's possible, or simply raise your hands in the air so that others on Zoom can see them.